4 to 5 pounds of belly fat in 1 month is the question I will be answering on today's episode of Ask Nutritionist Deepa. And to answer that question, I have Mr. Jeff Smith, who has done it. So, Jeff, welcome.
Thank you so much, Deepa. I really
you.
appreciate you having me.
No problem. It's my pleasure because I always have women coming to me asking to lose belly fat. But when I see African American young male come to me for help, that is even more important because, as you know, that population suffers from high risk of heart disease, diabetes, and cholesterol and everything else. So your story is going to be inspiring a lot of people, I hope. So I'm super excited to have you on this episode. So Jeff, tell us who you are, what you do, and a little bit of your culinary history, heritage history.
Definitely. So, hello, everyone. I'm Jeff A. Smith. I have a regular day job. I work at Blue Cross Blue Shield, but I'm also an actor as well, too, which is really my passion, actor and model. And as far as my health journey is concerned, I started off, I was raised in a household where I was eating, meat 3 times a day, not necessarily the healthiest diet. And I would say I'm 40 years old right now, and I would say over the last 10 to 15 years or so, I've made a transition into a mostly plant-based diet. So it's been a series of baby steps to get to the point where I am at today. So yeah, again, starting off eating, meat and lots of sugar and unhealthy foods kind of throughout my childhood. And then as I got into adulthood, just realizing that, okay, I found myself in my 20s overweight, actually. And that was really my impetus for trying to get on the right track, on the right path. So when I say baby steps, I first cut out pork, stopped eating pork at first. And then from there, I cut out red meat. And I was only focusing on like chicken and fish and stuff like that. And then in the back of my mind, I wanted to get to the point where I would be a vegetarian. I thought that would be just a really good challenge. I've always liked to challenge myself. And as I was cutting these items out of my diet, I was feeling better and I actually was losing weight. So it made sense for me to continue to up the ante and raise the stakes and continue to cut out some of that bad food out of my diet. I wasn't quite sure if I was going to be able to sustain vegetarianism, but I said, you know what? It was actually, I became a vegetarian on my 35th birthday. So at that point in time, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to see what happens. At that point in time, like I said before, I was on a really good path from cutting out all the previous stuff as far as feeling better. So I was like, let me see if I really, really go hard, cut out meat altogether, and let's see what happens. So, and it really helped too that my wife was already vegetarian at the time. So that gave me even more motivation.
Sure.
And so I became vegetarian, got some really great results. At that same time, I really upped the ante with my workouts as well too. So it was a really good combination of that, and lost a lot of weight. I'm 5'9", and I was about 190 or so when I was early 30s. Yep, I had 190, and that was like, pretty heavy for my height.
Sure.
And so getting to become a vegetarian, once I turned the tide with that, the weight started to really come off at a rapid pace.
Sure. And then during your vegetarian phase, you were eating eggs and cheese and some dairy products.
Yeah, a lot of times. Yep. And I know a lot of times people, folks know this too, you tend to replace one thing with another. So since I gave up, meat, I leaned more heavily rather into the dairy, the eggs, and even the really heavily into the meat substitutes. So I became a huge fan of Beyond Burgers, Impossible Burgers, tofurkeys. So during the holiday season, I would make those tofurkeys and stuff like that. So I really leaned heavily into the artificial meat.
The substitute.
Yeah, the substitutes.
So would it be fair to say that you gave up meat, but the taste buds didn't really change? They were still craving for something?
I would say yes. So I was still craving, I guess, that satiety of meat, how it would satiate me. And I found those alternatives to meat, the plant-based chicken, plant-based beef, all that stuff. It filled that void for me.
Correct.
And at the time, I thought,
And also cheese.
Oh
You
yes,
were a
and
big
also
fan
cheese.
of cheese.
Yeah, and I would always say I'm never going to be a vegan because I cannot give up cheese and dairy or dairy and eggs.
Correct.
And because I was the type of person I would eat eggs every single day, and also cheese at least once or twice a day as well too.
So
So yeah.
what was the trigger point? What made you think of even contacting a dietitian when technically things were going
Yeah.
really great?
Yep. So things are going well. And again, my personality is I'm always looking to get better. So I lost a good amount of weight, started, toning and becoming pretty fit. And I got to the point where my stomach was not where I wanted it to be. So I had, lost weight. I can tell my face was getting thinner. My arms were getting built, legs, et cetera, et cetera. But that darn stomach was not going down at the pace that the other body parts were going down.
Sure.
So, I would try to tweak the vegetarianism, try to do things, throw different things at the wall to see what would stick. And, I would lose a little bit of weight, but then it would come back on. I was noticing lots of like bloating. So whenever I would eat something where I thought it wasn't even a huge meal, I would see it in my stomach. Like I would see the actual bloating, like, man, what's going on here? So, and I'm the type of person where I know I can't always figure it out on my own. I need help. So that's why I was like, you know what? Let me look into getting a nutritionist to see if there's anything that I can do to lose this belly fat. Essentially, that's what it was. It got to that point. It was really an aesthetic thing. So one thing that really helped too with becoming a vegetarian, even up until that point, cutting out the meat, my cholesterol levels and everything continued to go down. So I was at a point where I was pretty healthy, or actually I would say very healthy from a
Like a
medical
clinical
perspective.
kind of.
Yeah, from a clinical perspective.
Yeah.
But I wasn't necessarily happy where I was aesthetically, and I was also still I just felt like there was still room for growth there.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you had this almost gut feeling that
Yeah, pun intended.
Exactly. Had this gut feeling that why do I have this gut?
Yeah,
I'm working
exactly.
so hard, and you
Yeah,
being
and I'm working out 5 to 6 days a week, eating vegetarian diet. I'm like, okay, I thought I cracked the code. I'm like, there's nothing else I could be doing. And it
exactly.
still wasn't getting the results.
Exactly. And then we met, and I said, well, can we try the whole food plant-based, no oil
Right.
options?
Mm-hmm.
And that journey started. So how did you do it? You being so busy with your family, social pressure, because you had already given up so much, like according to people, oh my God, you are already given up so much. I don't know what we are giving up, because our plates with whole food plant-based has the most amount of food, I feel. So we are really not giving up anything. But you already, has given up meat, and now here you have this person telling you cheese and eggs and those meat substitutes are the culprits. What went through your brain? How did you embrace that change?
I would say it was bittersweet. I was like, I kind of figured in the back of my mind. I mean, I knew there was something that I wasn't doing because I wasn't getting the results that I wanted to get. So when you said, I never forget when you mentioned to me the amount of fat content that's in like a Beyond Burger, Impossible Burger versus meat is not that far off. It's not like it's, night and day by no means. So part of me was like, oh man, I really got to give up this stuff. I knew it wasn't the healthiest.
Yes.
And the other part was like, well, Jeff, if you want to get this result, then you have to do it. Okay. You know what I mean? So, and I'm a firm believer in you can't, definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So I was like, I have to switch it up. So if I'm really dedicated to this and I want to lose this belly fat, lose this gut, or, minimize, then I have to make this change. And my biggest thing, and I like to ask questions and stuff like that, I was just trying to figure out what can I substitute? What can I do to still feel fulfilled with my eating? Because I love food. Let me say that too out the gate. Yes. I love food.
I can see that in your meal logs.
Yeah. I'm eating breakfast thinking about lunch, eating lunch thinking about dinner. So you did a really great job of, literally sending me information on and how to break it down exactly what to eat. And from there, just trial and error, just trying stuff, seeing what sticks, seeing what I like, seeing what I didn't like.
Correct.
And I was able to find those foods that I really enjoyed. And I'm also a creature of habit, so I don't veer too far out. I have a nice handful of things I like to eat and I make, and I just stuck to them.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you changed to whole food, plant-based, no oil, but still the belly fat was not going.
Correct. So here's the rub. So I
Exactly.
changed to majority plant-based diet, but I was like, you know what? Because one thing that I would do, and this is back to being a vegetarian, I would do one what I would call cheat meal a week, and sometimes it may be 2 cheat meals a week. Cheat meal. Now, when I think back when I was a vegetarian or fully vegetarian, I was cheating almost every day with the dairy. Anyway, so when I went to mostly plant-based whole food, I was still saying, you know what, I'm still going to reward myself on Saturdays and have a cheat meal. So I was doing plant-based throughout the week. And then on Saturdays, I would still go back and, eat a Beyond Burger or go out, eat some deep fried cauliflower wings, sweet potato fries, whatever the case may be. So, and then I noticed, lost a little bit, but I was still kind of banging my head against the wall. I still wasn't getting the results that I wanted to get. So I'm like, man, like what is it? I'm like, I'm really, really in a good groove here. I'm like 5-6 days out the week, I'm eating clean. I know one or two little cheat meals is not gonna make that big of a difference, right?
That's true.
Then I had a conversation with you.
And the interesting thing is, you would ask me, should I have the cheat meal? Because when I used to see your cheat meal in the meal log, I would send emojis that, hey, I'm not really, happy about it. But if you're happy, go ahead, right?
Right.
So that's the next part of the story. That you wanted to have cheat meal. I said, okay, if you want to have cheat meal, you have it. But remember what your goal is.
Yeah. And that was the thing, and that was the good reminder. And I do, that's one thing I really enjoy about working with you, Deepa, is that you hold me to the standard that I wanted to set myself, that I set up for myself. You know what I'm saying? So like right now, I am very healthy. I know that I could eat a cheat meal, once a week and be perfectly fine, but I don't want that gut. So if I don't want that gut, if I want to minimize that belly fat, then something is going to have to fall by the wayside, pun intended again.
Correct.
So that's when you told me, if I really, really want to see those tangible physical results, then I have to cut those cheat meals out. Your initial thing, I know you said cut them out for about 6 weeks to see what happens.
Yeah.
And should I say what happened?
Tell us what happened.
So I did. I cut out. And this is how I hacked it, or I kind of circumvented. So, like I said, when I would have these cheat meals once a week, I like breakfast food. I'll go out to breakfast, have like an omelet, have some pancakes and stuff like that, or whatever the case may be. Or like I said, if it's dinner, cauliflower wings or a Beyond Burger. So I was like, okay, so no cheat meal for 5 or 6 weeks. I was like, I still like to go out to eat at least once a week, because I just like that setting of the atmosphere. So I started really, really targeting, looking at restaurants where I could get something to eat that I normally wouldn't eat at home, but it was still healthy and I wasn't quote unquote cheating.
Okay.
So it was like a Jedi mind trick. Yeah. So I would go to, I found a couple of breakfast restaurants that had tofu scrambles, and they had really good ingredients, and even more than some of the stuff I was making at home, and had like buckwheat pancakes or whole grain pancakes, things of that nature, as opposed to regular buttermilk pancakes. Agave syrup, stuff like that, because there are lots of restaurants who have those super healthy options now. So I tweaked that where I was, still going out and having a bite, but I wasn't technically cheating. I was still keeping consistent with how I was eating at home. It was still plant-based. So.
That's important, because you really started problem solving instead of cheating, correct?
Yeah.
And I may have told you as well, and I want to make sure that our viewers understand that eating out is absolutely possible.
Yes.
Within our guidelines here, because the way I do is, and it is like that trick, the mind trick, that I have developed for myself. As soon as I go to the restaurant, I pick up the menu and I scan for ingredients. not the dish. So I see,
Yeah.
hey, in one dish they have used mushroom. Hey, in something else they have used rice. In something else they have asparagus. And somewhere it says salsa. Somewhere it says jalapeno peppers. I pick this. Somewhere it says baked potato, or they have like a side dish of broccoli or something. So I pick these ingredients and I let my entire table order whatever they want. And when I tell the server that, hey, just if you, I'm going to give you a list of these ingredients. Tell your chef to be creative. I really don't care. Is it a soup or a bowl, or he just gives me guacamole on a piece of toast with some veggies on side? I'm happy.
That's impressive.
And
Because they have it because it's on the menu.
Yes.
So you look at it and you remix the menu. You mix and match. They have these ingredients.
Correct. And I tell her, I'm going to be your most pain in the neck person, but I'll make sure that I give you good tip and you are happy, I'm happy. Chef will be happy that he got something creative to do and not the same old, same old. So it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
And almost 90%, 95% of the time, this strategy has been very successful.
Yeah, that's awesome. And one thing I want to interject that's helped me along the way too is using, I know you have this wonderful app called Sunev.
Yes.
And using an app and using an app to track your food, track your mood, how you feel before and after meals and stuff like that is wonderful. And that's what really has helped to hold me accountable. So me having to take a picture of what I'm going to eat before I eat it, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure, especially when I'm eating a cheat meal. I'm like, oh man, I'm taking a picture of this greasy plate. Like, oh boy, you know what I mean? So really having that accountability of tracking your food, and also how you feel before and after you eat it really paints a story, and it paints a picture that helps you on your journey. And that app also has a lot of great resources as far as what your plate should look like, how it should be sectioned off, and lots of really great information to keep you motivated on your journey.
Absolutely. No, that because it takes a village almost to do anything, right? To bring any concrete change. And that's why I feel there is no one size fit all type of diet or approach. There needs to be little more individualized messaging. And along the line, whatever recommendations that I give, they need to be practical.
Yeah.
Because you are a very busy professionally, personally. So how do you navigate this meal prepping and meal planning and grocery shopping? Because one of the complaint always is, oh my God, this is too much work. I don't have time to cook. So how do you do it? You are a professional, you work, you have a family, you have a very busy social life.
Yeah. I would say planning doesn't take as long as people think it does. So, I can sit down on a Sunday and kind of get an idea as to what I want to eat this week and plan it out. And like I said, for me personally, I'm not, I don't make a lot of really elaborate dishes, but I can have a basic list of stuff that I can get from the grocery store that I can come home and I can make relatively quickly. So I'm all about making stuff as quick as possible. So, the app and also information from Deepa she has grocery lists, and you can just pluck off of there what you like. So that's pretty much paint by number. So I make my list and I set up, those specific dishes that I like. Salads are really my go-to. Salads are really easy. You just buy whatever ingredients you like, the healthy stuff, and you just throw it together and you have your salad. So I think it's just about making sure you take that little bit of time, be it if you're doing it for the entire week or if you're doing it, each morning, planning just your day, if you're going day by day to do it. And you just have to remember what your ultimate goal is at the end of the day, because we are always going to have excuses. There's always going to be excuses. There's never enough time in the day. But ultimately for me, and, bigger picture too, besides, quote unquote, getting rid of the belly fat, I want to live as long as I possibly can, as healthy as I possibly can. So my overall driving force is to be here and to continue to share these wonderful moments that I have with my family. and my friends. So it's worth it to take that little bit of time to plan my meals so I can eat healthy, so I can sustain and I can be here.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple. So
It's very simple. And one more question before I let you go is, how do you deal with temptations?
okay.
Taste buds. You know, people are like, oh no, my taste buds are used to this. Tell us more, a little bit more about that.
It's interesting. Over the years, my taste buds have actually morphed. So I'll tell a small story, and this is a microcosm of my journey. So, as I said before, when I was fully vegetarian, I love cheese. I would eat cheese a couple of times a day at the very least. I just really love the substance of it. I put it on my eggs, put it on sandwiches, etc. Once I cut out cheese out of my diet, but I was still every once in a while having cheat meals that had cheese in them, I found my palate changed a little bit. So it didn't the cheese didn't taste as good as it did before. So that's one thing. So as you continue your journey, your palate may change where things that you thought were the best thing in the world don't taste as good as they did before. Even with chocolate, like before growing up, I would always eat candy bars, Kit Kat, Reese's, Twix, all that stuff. And then I about like roughly 10 years ago, I started getting into dark chocolate, and I really enjoyed dark chocolate. So now every time I eat regular chocolate, it's way too sweet for me. So sometimes developing those habits just by trying the alternative things, you get to a point where you don't want to go back to how you were eating before. If you still have those cravings though, and you feel like you can backslide, there's so many different alternatives out here now, things that you can replace that fill that gap. Like for example, I use nutritional yeast in place of cheese. So it tastes like Parmesan cheese to me. It has that cheesy flavor to me. So I can put that on stuff. And I'm like, I'm getting my cheese fix here.
Yes.
And it's guilt-free.
Absolutely guilt-free. And guilt-free and full of vitamin B12. That's an additional nutritional benefit.
Yeah.
So Jeff, as a parting message to your fellow men and women out there, what do you have to say?
Oh man, that's deep. So I would say, especially to my brothers and sisters of color, and this is for real, this is real talk here. We need to make sure that we're taking the very best care of ourselves that we possibly can, so we can be here for each other. As I said previously, you can take baby steps to get there. I'm not saying you have to go from 0 to 100, within a course of days or weeks, but try your best to take those baby steps. Cut out the soda, cut back. Instead of eating meat 3 times a day, maybe try it once a day just to begin with and stuff like that. And I guarantee you, when you make these small little tweaks and these small little changes, you are going to notice results. You will definitely notice results. And and also learn to forgive yourself, because there's going to be a lot of false stops and starts too. So nobody's perfect. We're going to backslide and make mistakes on our journey and stuff like that. But forgive yourself, dust yourself off, get up and just keep moving. And I really suggest reaching out to, folks who are like-minded or having a nutritionist as great as Deepa, because having someone that's going to hold you accountable also helps as well too. So when it's tough, you know what I mean? Having somebody that can lend an ear will really help you out as well too. So
that is so important. Starting small, not beating yourself up if you fall off the wagon. It's all about getting back on the wagon and keep it going. So Jeff, thank you so much for your insight and sharing that with our viewers. We wish you the best, and I don't think you have any more fat to lose, really. If you ask me, it's all about.
I'm almost there. I'm not 100%. I'm almost there.
Almost there. 4.5. All you have to do is another half a pound, and that's what I promised you. I said 5 pounds, 6 weeks. That's all, man. That's all you have to do. So keep it going. Spread the message about your lifestyle, and we wish you the best. And thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.